Hello aspirants, I welcome you all on the YouTube channel of ANALYST IAS. Our today's topic for topic Decodified discussion is the glacial landforms and glacial floodings. So we will see why in news, what are glacial lake outburst flood, what are the concerns and findings of the new recent study, then what are the mitigation measures, what are glacial erosional landforms, what are glacial depositional landforms, what are different types of glaciers, and also we will see 4 prelims practice question. This topic is important for your prelims and mains perspective both. So why in news? According to a new study, glacial lake outburst flood threatens millions globally, published in the journal Nature. Around 15 million people across the world face the risk of sudden and deadly flooding from glacial lakes, which are expanding and rising in numbers due to global warming. More than half of those who could be impacted live in 4 countries, which are India, Pakistan, Peru and China. So what is glacial lake flooding? So the ice will melt and it will be collected in a moraine dam lake. It is naturally or artificially dammed by the moraine dam. If the global warming will increase, the ice will melt, more water would come here and it will start overtopping or overflow. And if someday, if it bursts, then it will lead to a very large calamity. Now, what are the concerns? Glacial lake outburst floods can be extremely dangerous as they can cause significant destruction to infrastructure, property and agricultural land and can also result in loss of lives. These floods often arrive with little warning and can be triggered by events such as landslides and ice avalanches. As global temperatures continue to rise, glaciers will retreat, forming larger and more numerous lakes that may be more susceptible to such triggers. The number and total area of glacial lakes worldwide have increased by about 50% since 1990, according to a 2020 study. Now, what are the findings of the new study? The researchers used existing satellite derived data on different locations and sizes of glacial lakes as well as global population models and pollution metrics to identify the areas and communities most in danger from glacial lake outburst floods. They estimated that around 15 million people live within the 50-kilometer danger zone of glacial lakes, with populations in high mountain Asia being the most exposed. India and Pakistan make up 1/3 of the total number of people globally exposed to the GLOFs, with around 3 million people in India and around 2 million people in Pakistan. The study also found that the glacial flood risks depend not only on the size and number of glacial lakes in an area, but also on the number of people living in that area, their proximity to the danger zone and levels of social vulnerability as well. Areas like Greenland and Canada, which have a large number of glacial lakes, they have very few people who are vulnerable to the GLOFs due to their low population and corruption levels. But these two things, large population and great corruption, are in countries like Pakistan and India. So what are the mitigation measures? First is the construction limits. One of the simplest and most cost effective strategies is to limit construction in GLOF prone areas. This may help to reduce the risk of infrastructure and property damage and protect human lives. Second is relocation. In some cases, it may be necessary to relocate existing infrastructure and human populations from high risk areas to low risk areas. This can be challenging and a complex process, but it may be the best way to protect the people from the impact of GLOFs, just like we are doing in the case of Joshimath. Then land use planning. Adequate land use planning is critical in GLOF prone areas. This can help to identify and avoid high risk areas and ensure that new development is located in the safer areas. Then training. It's important to train local inhabitants in search and rescue operations, as they will often be the first responders in a crisis before trained rescuers arrive. This can help to ensure that people are prepared to respond effectively to GLOF events and help to reduce the risk of loss of life, as this event can happen anytime. Now, what are the glacial erosional landforms? First, we will see about the cirques. These are hollow basin cut into a mountain ridge. It has a steep sided slope on three sides and an open end one side and a flat bottom. This is open from one and it also have a flat bottom. When the ice melts, the cirque may develop as a tarn lake and this may result into the glacial lake flooding. Now, glacial trough. This is the glacial trough. Original stream cut valley, further modified by glacial action. It is a U-shaped valley. You can observe here it is a U-shaped valley. It at mature stage. Since glacial mass is heavy and slow moving, erosional activity is uniform horizontally as well as vertically. A steep sided and flat bottom valley results which has a U-shaped profile. Now there is a hanging valley. This one is the hanging valley. So formed when smaller tributaries are unable to cut as deeply as bigger ones and remain hanging at high levels, and the main valley as discordant tributaries. A valley carved out by a small tributary glacier that joins with a valley carved out by much larger glacier. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर ट्रिब्यूटरी बहुत छोटी होगी तो वो इस हार्ड रॉक को कट नहीं कर पाएगी और वो ऊपर ही हैंग करेगी. सो दिस इज व्हाट हैंगिंग वैली इज. इट इज अ फीचर ऑफ ग्लेशियल लैंडफॉर्म्स. देन यू हैव द एरेटे, दिस वन. सो इट इज स्टीप साइडेड sharp tipped summit with glacial activity cutting into it from two different sides. ये दो साइड से कट हो जाता है और बीच में एक रिज फॉर्म हो जाती है. दिस इज व्हाट एरेटे इज. देन व्हाट इज हॉर्न? It is a ridge that acquires a horn shape when the glacial activity cuts it from more than two sides. See, 1, 2, 3 and पीछे से भी कटा होगा. So this is what a horn is. Then we will look what is a ford. It is steep sided narrow entrance like feature at the coast where the stream meets the coast. Fords are common in Norway, Greenland and New Zealand. जहां पे कोस्ट से सीधा स्ट्रीम ग्लेशियल मीट करती है. दिस इज व्हाट फॉर्ड इज. नाउ वी विल सी ग्लेशियल डिपोजिशनल लैंडफॉर्म्स. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल सी द आउटवॉश प्लेन. When the glacier reaches its lowest point and it melts, it leaves behind a stratified deposition material consisting of rock debris, clay, sand, gravel, etc. This layered surface is called till plane और इसी को आउटवॉश प्लेन भी कहा जाता है. देन यू हैव द एस्कर्स. दिस वन इज द एस्कर्स. सो वाइंडिंग रिज ऑफ अनएजॉर्टेड डिपोजिशन ऑफ रॉक्स, ग्रेवल, क्ले एटसेट्रा रनिंग थ्रू अ ग्लेशियल in a till plane. It basically runs through the glacier in a till plane. The eskers resembles the feature of an embankment and are often used for making roads. Now there are then terraces. These are broken ridge and or unassorted depositions looking like hump in a till plane. Then there are drumlin fields. What are drumlin fields? These are inverted boat shaped deposited in a till plane caused by deposition. ये inverted boat shaped होते हैं. Then there are kettle holes. This is a kettle lake or kettle hole. These are the kettle holes. So what is a kettle hole? Formed when deposited material in a till plane gets depressed locally and forms a basin. So it will form a kettle lake. Then we will see what is moraine. Moraine. This one is the moraine. So general term applied to rock fragments, gravel, sand, etc. which are carried by the glacier. Remember, moraine is a depositional, not an erosional landform. Depending on its position, the moraine can be ground moraine and end moraine. This can be a ground moraine, this can be a end moraine. So this was about the depositional landforms. I have already told you about the ford. Then what are the different kinds of glaciers? There are basically four kinds of glaciers. First is the continental glaciers. The continental glaciers are found in Antarctica and Greenland. They are above the continent. Below it would be the crust and above it would be the glaciers. Now there are ice caps. Ice caps are covers of snow and ice on mountains from which the valley or mountain glaciers originate. These are covers of snow. As you can see that mountains के ऊपर यहाँ पूरा ice cover है, तो ये ice caps होते हैं. Then what is Piedmont glaciers? Form a continuous ice sheet at the base of the mountains in southern Alaska. these kind of structures जो एक continuous ice sheets बनाते हैं, these are Piedmont glaciers. Now what are the valley glaciers? The valley, also known as the alpine glaciers, are found in higher regions of Himalayas in our country and all such high mountains ranges of the world. This one is the valley glacier. Now we will come to our today's prelims practice question. We have 4 questions. We will discuss it along with. Consider the following statements. First, glacial lakes are formed by melting of glaciers and are held in place by ice, moraines and other natural dams. Glacial lake outburst floods are a type of flood that occurs when glacial lake or dam containing the lake fails. Pause the video, try to answer. So basically, the answer to this video is, this question is C. If you don't understand it, just go in the starting and again learn about the GLOFs. Then we will come to our second question. Consider the following statements regarding the continental glaciers. First, a thick ice sheet covering a vast area of land is called a continental glacier. The continental glaciers build up at the center and are moved outward in all directions. 3. Continental glaciers of today are found mainly in Antarctica and Greenland. Pause the video, try to answer. So the answer to this video is option D. Now question 3. Which of the following landforms are created by the glaciers? Cirque, U-shaped valley, hanging valley or all of the above? I guess you already know the answer. So try to type it in the comment section. The answer is D. Now question 4. I leave it towards you. You can type the answer in the comment section. So the question is, consider the following statements regarding the hanging valley. The hanging valley of the tributary glacier just look like hanging downwards at a point of its confluence with the main valley. When the ice cap in the hanging valley melts, a waterfall is formed at the point of confluence of this stream with the main river. Which of the following statements are true? This was all about today's video. You can type the answer in the comment section. If you know, we'll let you know if it's correct or not. This was all about today's video and session. Stay tuned with us. Have a great day.